You know what we don't get to see very often? Republicans being forced to grapple with their hypocrisy. But we get to see it today. My name is Brittany Page from the Page Perspective here on YouTube, and I am filling in for Jesse while he is in Canada for a short trip. Not for immigration purposes. He is appearing on a panel about the 2024 election for the Future Voters Summit. I'm sure he will fill you in on all the details when he returns, but for now, we're going to be talking about Senator from Oklahoma, Markwayne Mullin. You may remember him as the Republican senator who once threatened to beat up a witness during a committee hearing, and then he became a meme. He's been in the headlines recently after Donald Trump named Matt Gaetz as his pick for Attorney General. That's right, Donald Trump wants Matt Gaetz to lead the Department of Justice. And if confirmed, he'd go from previously being under investigation by the Department of Justice for sex trafficking a minor to leading the nation's top law enforcement agency. You know, sometimes I sit here and I talk about what's happening and I can't believe what I'm saying, but this is indeed the reality and we're living in it. Just after Donald Trump named Matt Gaetz as his pick, we got this reporting. Quote, "The woman who was at the center of a years-long Justice Department investigation into sex trafficking allegations surrounding Rep. Matt Gaetz testified to the House Ethics Committee that the now former Florida congressman had sex with her when she was 17 years old," sources familiar with the investigation told ABC News. This person could be Attorney General. And it's really a test of loyalty here because Matt Gaetz is not well liked. He is not popular with his colleagues. You know how off-putting you find him without ever having to actually be around him? Imagine having to be around him. Even his fellow Republicans are like, "Dear Lord, guy, you're a nightmare." And that includes Senator Markwayne Mullin, who has previously had very harsh and, let's be honest, fact-based assessments of Matt Gaetz's moral depravity. But after Donald Trump made his announcements, Markwayne Mullin seemed to soften a bit, you know, like all Republicans do, because ultimately, we know most of them will simply fall in line. But he isn't getting off the hook that easy. No. He went on Meet the Press with Kristen Welker, where she played a mashup of previous statements that he's made about Matt Gaetz and asked him to reconcile those harsh words with his new apparent position that he trusts Donald Trump's decision-making. Let's see how he tries to get out of this one.
I want to start with former Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, who, of course, President-elect Trump, as we just said, announced this week was his pick for Attorney General. You have said you trust Mr. Trump's decision-making in naming Gaetz, but you have been critical of Gaetz as well. Here's a little bit of what you've had to say.
We had all seen the videos he was showing on the House floor that all of us had walked away of the girls that he had slept with. And he walked up to me as Chris, now Governor Chris, and he said, "Man, she's a fine," and you can put the B word in place there. This is the type of individual Matt Gaetz is.
So, Senator, you clearly have questions about Matt Gaetz's character, but do you believe that Matt Gaetz is qualified to serve as Attorney General?
You know, there's no question that Matt Gaetz and I have had our differences, and that's no secret. Moving forward, I do respect President Trump's the right to appoint these individuals, but underneath Article 2, Section 2, Congress has to advise and consent. And Matt Gaetz is going to go through the same scrutiny as every other individual, and I'm going to give him a fair shot just like every individual. And at the end of the day, the Senate has to confirm him. I do think it's a very, very tough role. I've got a tough situation that I've got to set my personal opinions, and they're really not opinions. I got to set my personal situation with Matt to the side and look at the facts. If he's qualified, he's qualified. Be quite frank, I didn't even know he was an attorney until after he was appointed Attorney General, and I had to do my research on him. And I know that's crazy because I served with him, but I just never did the dig to find out actually his actual degree, what it was in.
I love that he had no idea what Matt Gaetz's background was. He was like surprised to learn he actually did something, that he was actually an attorney, because even his colleagues are so repulsed by him that they want nothing to do with him. They don't want to know anything about him. I love that. But I want to focus on the main part of Markwayne's criticism of Matt, which is that Matt showed videos of girls he's slept with. Were these videos filmed consensually? Did the videos quite literally feature girls, Markwayne, or women? And why are we not gathering more information here, given that Matt is accused of sex trafficking a minor? Again, I listen to a clip like this and I am just stunned that this is where we are, even having a conversation about someone like Matt Gaetz being further elevated to a position of power when he should not be anywhere near a position of power, including the one he currently or previously, since he resigned, has. But the clip doesn't end there, because we also know that there was a pending ethics investigation into the allegations against Matt Gaetz that may or may not see the light of day now that he has resigned from Congress. But it's putting an end to the investigation, which, you know, isn't suspicious at all, right? It doesn't at all appear like Matt Gaetz has something to hide. Well, Markwayne Mullin was asked whether this report should be released. Let's see what he says.
Well, and speaking of digging into his background, the House Ethics Committee was about to release the findings of its investigation into allegations of misconduct by former Congressman Gaetz. Of course, he abruptly resigned before that could happen. A number of your colleagues, including members of the Senate Judiciary Committee, have said they would like to see that report. Should the House Ethics Committee release that report, Senator?
Absolutely, and I believe the Senate should have access to that. Now, should it be released to the public or not? That's I guess that will be part of the negotiations, but that should be definitely part of our decision making. Once again, I go back to it in Article 2, Section 2 in the Constitution. The Senate has to advise and consent these individuals, and in that process, we're going to give Matt Gaetz the same chances we'll give all President Trump's nominees. And by the way, I do believe that President Trump has the ability to pick some really, really good people. You can see why he's been successful in business, why he was successful in running his campaign, because he surrounds himself with the right people. So I have no doubt that President Trump believes that Matt Gaetz is the right person to do the right job. But at the same time, the background of Matt Gaetz does matter, and what the decisions that the Senate makes has to be within our boundaries of the constitutional authority that we have, and we will do our due diligence there. And I'll say this: Matt will be treated the same as every nominee out there, from myself and every other senator out there.
A fundamentally nonsensical answer. And remember, we've gone on quite the journey here already in just these few minutes, from Markwayne Mullin talking about Matt Gaetz showing everyone videos of girls he's had sex with, to Matt's general misogynistic comments about other women, to Markwayne not being sure what Matt does around here, to him believing the ethics report should be released, apparently because it contains important information about the person who could become the nation's top law enforcement officer, to Trump picks the best people. And he has no doubt that Trump believes Matt Gaetz is the best for the job. Sir, where did your spine go? I'm surprised he's able to sit up straight without it. Trump picks the best people who are accused of sex trafficking minors, and who you yourself admit brags about and shows videos of the girls that he's had sex with? If these are the men providing checks on Trump's power, we are in trouble. And there's just no pretty little bow to put on that right now, but we can and should keep the pressure up and not let these men escape the backlash that they so deserve for being spineless. What do you think? Call us and let us know at 714-576-4054 or email us at daily@dollemore.com. Tell Jesse how good of a job that I'm doing, how much you approve of my guest hosting, how you feel like I should have way more than 64,000 subscribers on my own channel. Better yet, help me get to 100,000 subscribers over on my own channel. I'd love for you to join me over there. I'm looking forward to going through today's news with you while we await Jesse's return. And as he would say, be genuine and take care of one another.